welcome back and happy Tuesday. I am so excited to talk to you about this week's guest. I have not caught up with her in what feels like forever. It has definitely been years, but this week we're going to be talking about geoarbitrage in practice with Lauren Morton, who is the partner at QED Investors. So Lauren, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome, Scarlett. It's great to catch up, and thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. So it has been some time since we have caught up. I've seen the great work that you've been doing afar. Of course, we're all living in this digital land. Some great stuff that's coming out. Press from QED investors and from you, specifically around emerging markets. So can you just tell us quickly, high level, what is QED investors doing with emerging markets and why is that interesting for you
Yeah,
guys?
absolutely. I mean, QED Investors is a fintech-focused investment fund. We're actually headquartered in Virginia, but we do invest globally. About 5 years ago, we started that journey into Brazil in particular with Nubank, getting to know David Velez very closely. And obviously, we've seen that business kind of transform into one of the best challenger banks. We think the best challenger bank in the world, with still a lot of headspace to grow. And I think through that experience, also appreciated how much of what we were seeing and doing and knew about financial services and underwriting and credit in the US, while needing to still be tropicalized to local market, could really help kind of grow, advance, and build new great financial services companies in these developing markets, and that there was just so much opportunity to really solve massive both societal, economic, and financial problems as we spent more time in Latin America. And now we also have a partner focused in India and Southeast Asia as well.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. Obviously, back in the days when we were talking on a much more frequent basis at BBVA, of course, we had a huge presence in LATAM, and I was always so inspired and excited by the entrepreneurs and the conversations that I was having when I was down there. It's definitely an area that I think is so so much opportunity. So when we think about this concept of geo arbitrage in practice, one of the things that you shared with me offline was this really amazing kind of dual role that you're having right now. I mean, your background leads to this. Can you just talk a little bit about your experience from Cap One and the rest of your experience have led to this really cool opportunity that you've been doing over the last 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the things that I really loved about QED when I joined, is that there is a huge focus on operating with our portfolio companies and finding ways to get our hands dirty, get in the trenches, and work with the entrepreneurs and CEOs and teams. And so my background is I spent 15 years at Capital One doing a number of credit, underwriting, lending type roles, as well as some strategic investing where we kind of ran into each other a few different times. Um, but then I currently, after joining QED, had the opportunity to step in and run the analytics and data science teams at one of our unicorn portfolio companies called Creditas in Brazil. And it's been a really awesome, to your point, inspiring opportunity to sit down and get to know a team of people who come in every day and solve hard problems and work with the leaders and the CEO, not just the strategy that gets to the boardroom, but the kind of day-to-day growth plans and kind of challenges with interest rates and banks and data breaking and kind of missing plans and then exceeding plans. And it's been both awesome to for me for learning about truly building a company in a developing market, and also to be able to bring some of those insights from Capital One on how to build kind of a testing strategy and an MPV optimization strategy and framework to a business I obviously care a lot about, and a team that's doing great things.
And I think that's such a special thing, right? Because so often you hear when you're thinking about the differences in investors, a lot of times it's like, oh well, we want to provide value back to our portfolio. That's great, but one of the keys to that is that operational component. But you're like putting that, like, you're not just like, oh no, I have the operational background from Cap One. You're like, no, I'm really getting in the trenches with you guys and making this happen, which I think is just such a unique thing and just probably speaks volume. I mean, obviously you said you've learned a lot and you've also been able to take all of that knowledge from someone like Cap One who has definitely been a leader in our industry and then use that in another market, which I just think is fascinating. Okay, well, we could be talking about this all day. I want to keep talking about this. I think there's plenty of other platforms where we can have this conversation. But for now, let's end here. Lauren, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. For all of you, as always, please click on the link below. You have Lauren's full Q&A. There's going to be some great nuggets in there. And until next week, signing off.